And before the press conferences even start, I mean, we could talk for 45 minutes just about how atrocious the defense is.
He's just picking the big guys. Jordan Mailata, he's huge. He'll be good later on. Josh Sweat, he's tall as hell and strong. Let's get him. We'll figure him out. It's working.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're back from our 3-day hiatus. Holidays are over. Root canal is done. We're back 8:30 a.m. where we always are, and we got a jam-packed show for you today. We are going to talk a lot about some Twitter happenings yesterday, some Sixers. We'll touch on the Union, maybe get into some Phillies. We'll see, but we're brought to you by Manscaped. Check out manscaped.com. Use promo code TRENDING when you check out, and that'll get you 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped's the leader in men's grooming products, so you want to check them out. They got the best below-the-waist products there are. So go ahead, check out manscaped.com. And again, use TRENDING at checkout. Let them know that we sent you. That is Jeremy Horworth at jhorworth11. Me, I'm Phil Stiefel. Beard and Knowledge. Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm feeling a lot better.
Are you ready for insanity today?
I am definitely ready for insanity today.
All right, let's dive right into it here today. So yesterday we didn't have our show because I had a root canal, and Monday's normally overreaction Monday, and we have a lot of overreactions. And I put out, my 3, 4, 5 overreaction, comments of the day. Then later in the afternoon, I put out a tweet, and it wasn't an overreaction tweet. It was just a general thought that I had, and it had 4 or 5 statements in it, and let's just say it took on a life of its own because people are a-holes. People are just crazy. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to read the tweet out. And Jeremy, I'm going to ask you your initial reactions of the whole tweet. We're going to go point by point, but we're also going to get into some of these responses that I got too, because this just proves my point about the end of the tweet. So here's my post. Just a reminder. Stop with the cut Jalen Reagor comments. Then I put 1, the Eagles have no one else. 2, he's in the middle of second year as a first-round pick. How he's not cutting him, which is actually my most important point in the whole thing there.
Yeah.
3, a game inactive to clear head maybe happens. Maybe.
You said
and 4,
maybe.
Stop with the bullying. It's not productive at DSM Media. That was the post, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now, as a whole, does that post seem awful to you?
No.
Whether you agree with the points or not.
No, regardless. I mean, I wouldn't whichever way you feel about the points, if you're on one side or the other, everyone has their own opinion and everything. Yeah, whatever. But this just shows Twitter. I mean, it is a fair point, regardless of how you view it. But for people to just come out and how all the reactions were, definitely not something that I expected.
And Jason's summing it up right here. Everyone skipped over the first 3 points and went right to me saying, stop bullying Jalen Reagor because it's not productive. And everybody wanted to jump all over that. And that was where everybody focused. Yeah. And it's first off, let me get this out of the way. I hate bullying. I hate it with a passion. I was bullied as a young person, even into my early teenage years. And it's something that really bothers me. And you see a lot of bullying on Twitter in general, on Facebook, and all the different groups.
All over.
So that we're going to get into that part of it in a bit, because some of the responses and quote tweets that I got on this, I mean, it just straight proves my point that there's an issue out there. But let's talk about it. So should we stop with the cut Jalen Reagor comments? Because first, point 1, the Eagles have no – look, let's backtrack. Do you agree Jalen Reagor had an awful game on Sunday?
Yeah. No, yeah. Jalen Reagor he had an awful game. An awful game over the weekend. I'm guessing we will get more into the actual game later on in the show. I'm not going to put all the blame on him, but yeah, he had a terrible game. And I think criticizing him is definitely fair. I definitely think that going out and criticizing Jalen Reagor for the bad plays that he made, I definitely think that's fair. But the comparisons they're making with Aguilar and everything like that, I don't know. There's a couple over the top things that they're saying, but no, he definitely did have a terrible game on Sunday. No doubt.
Yeah, he dropped obviously key plays. He dropped key passes at the end of the game that could have been touchdowns, things like that. But it gets to the point the Eagles have no one else. And I've got Jalen Reagor stats up here. I've got Quez Watkins stats. I got Jonathan Hightower, Greg Ward, all the names that are being thrown out there right now. First off, Jalen Reagor obviously is not having a good season, but his snap percentage is going down, which is showing that the fact that the team is losing faith in him, which is fine. But if you look at it, I mean, he's right on par with last year. It's not like he's regressed or progressed or anything. He's basically doing the same thing he did last year. So, I mean, that being said, you look at some of these other guys, everybody wants to say, bring in Greg Ward, right? All right, so let's bring up Greg Ward's numbers here because that is something I want to discuss first. Because Greg Ward is not the answer. He is absolutely not the answer. And let's go over it. So Greg Ward has played in every single game this year, okay? He is averaging 20% of the snaps on offense. He's got 2 catches. He's got 2 15-yard touchdowns, and that is it. He hasn't had a catch since week 4. And it's not because in against the Rams in week 7, he was on the field for 46% of the offensive snaps. Did not have 1 catch. Okay? A couple weeks later against the Chargers, 32% of the snaps, no catches. So why do people think Greg Ward's the answer? And then we could go on his, more overall stats here. If I could find them, I had them up a second ago. Here they are. Last year, Greg Ward did have 53 catches for 7.9 yards a carry or catch. You know what that means? He has a less per catch average than Jalen Reagor does. So you're telling me you want Greg Ward and even less production for Jalen Reagor? I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, that's definitely one that caught my eye when I was looking at everything. I was thinking putting Greg Ward over Reagor. I think people are nuts for that. Greg Ward, the only reason why he got any catches, he is kind of like a safety net kind of guy. Yeah. This guy's going to go out there, he's going to run 3 yards and stand there until other guys don't get open, and they're just going to dump it off to him. That is what Greg Ward does. He's going to run them little out routes. He doesn't do anything more than that. At least with Reagor, we have a chance to get it deep on everything. It shouldn't even be a comparison. Greg Ward is not really he should not be a wide receiver in this league, period. Like I know, and I loved Greg Ward when he was doing great things for us, but that's just.
But he never did great things for us.
Well, he had things for us. He did. He had that nice 4-game stretch at the end of the year when we had Carson Wentz and we won 4 games straight to make it to the playoffs. Greg Ward was technically, I think he was like our number 1 at that point because of injuries, and he played decent. I mean, sure. He that's a nice stretch to remember. Just like Travis Fulgham. That was a cool little stretch we had with Fulgham, but he's not good.
He's not even in the league, Travis Fulgham, anymore.
Exactly. So that I think Greg Ward and I think Fulgham's
up in arms that we didn't keep Travis Fulgham on this team.
I was so dumb.
And somebody's going to swoop him up and he's going to be this star. Dude, the guy hasn't played a down in the NFL this year, to my knowledge. All right, let's move on to the next possible replacement. Jonathan Hightower. Oh, let's do that. So everyone's talking about Reagor and his 55% catch rate, okay? Which catch rate's a newer stat people are starting to focus on. How many targets versus how many catches, okay? Yeah. So everybody wants Jonathan Hightower. First off, he's played in 1 game this year, okay? And he was benched after fumbling on one of the 2 kickoffs that he tried to return. Never even saw the field as offense because that's how bad he is. Last year, everybody's talking about Reagor not catching the ball. Jonathan Hightower last year played in 13 games, okay? Do you know what his catch rate was?
I can't even imagine because I remember all the drop passes he had.
He had 10 catches on 29 targets. Now, that's not a huge sample size.
Still.
But that's 34%. And that's what you want to replace Jalen Reagor with?
That's insane.
I mean, I don't even have to go through the rest of his stats because they're not necessary because that just shows why would you play him? No. I mean, he got called up for 1 game and got sent right back to the practice squad. No one's claimed him off the practice squad because why would they?
Yeah.
The guy, so get out of here with the Jonathan Hightower people. I just want to say that. People say you got to give Quez Watkins more time, right? And I'll agree. Quez Watkins.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, but hold on a second.
Hey, haven't they already been giving him more time?
We have been giving him more time.
Yeah.
Where's his snap percentages here? He has been on the field for 80+% of the snaps since week 8 in Detroit. He hasn't had under 70% of snaps since week 4. He's been over 70% of the snaps. So he's actually on the field more than Jalen Reagor. But Quez Watkins has only got 20 some catches this year. Why? because maybe he's not quite as good as people think either.
He's
We
not.
may have jumped the gun on Quez Watkins. Yes, I want to see more of Quez Watkins. I agree. He's got that speed and big play ability. But again, the point is, who else do the Eagles have other than Jalen Reagor?
You know, when all season we have been bashing Reagor, and now I feel like we're almost defending him. I didn't think we'd ever have to get to this point.
Look,
And
I'm
it's not even like
him.
no, and it's not even to the point we're defending like Rager's great. He's the best. He's so good. He should be a number one. It's just the fact that he is our best option at this point. I mean, obviously besides Devontae Smith and probably Quez too, but exactly just like you said, who else would we play?
So this kind of ties into point two. It also ties into the offseason, and it ties into something I made in the Eagles Aftermath, the post-game show I did on Sunday after the Eagles loss. Look, I've done some, digging, and I've been trying to switch my tone on Howie Roseman. He's actually a better drafter than people give him credit for, but he's an atrocious evaluator of wide receiver talent, and that's the issue right there. We don't have anybody else because Howie Roseman has missed on so many wide receivers. First rounders, second rounders, fifth rounders. Hightower was drafted ahead of Quez Watkins. So he's missed on even the later. He nails his late round linemen. He nails third and fourth rounders. He nailed this year's draft with the first and second pick.
Yeah.
But Howie Roseman and wide receivers is an issue. And that leads to the second point. He's in the middle of his second year as a first round pick. Howie's not cutting him.
Yeah.
If Arcega-Whiteside is almost at the end of his third year and still on this team with his 2 catches this year, there's no way that Jalen Reagor is getting cut before next year, unless some team gets really dumb and offers a pick that people are like, we'll trade him. You can't trade him because you're not going to trade a former first-round pick for a 7th-round pick. You're just not going to do that.
Yeah, at least Howie's not.
Yeah, at least Howie's not. So do you agree that there's no chance that Howie's going to cut him?
There is a 0% chance. Just like you said, Arcega-Whiteside's still on this team. Andre Dillard's still on this team. Howie does not give up on his guys right away. And I actually agree with him on this. Sometimes there is times where he should go. Like Arcega-Whiteside, sure, you could say he should go, but no one would even trade him for a 7th-round pick. So he's going to stay on the team. That's fine. You can use some sort of value with him. But I wouldn't want to give up on these first and second round pick guys. So I like that Howie does it. I like that he sticks with his guys. And again, that's one thing I actually do like about Howie. There's not much, but that's definitely one of them. I wouldn't want to give up on any of these guys yet. Reagor, I'm not a huge fan of, but we used a 1st-round pick. Like we picked him over Justin Jefferson. Like he needs to be on the field. We need to keep on giving him chances. And I don't care, if he's gotten too many. No, when you're a 1st-round pick, you got to keep on trying and keep on trying and keep on trying because because he's a guy that this has to work. And if it doesn't, it really messes us up. As you can already tell, it has been messing us up. But
and I'm going to give you another example of where being patient sometimes pays off because everyone's saying you got to, at the least, the fair comments and responses are you got to let him sit for a game, clear his head. And a lot of people are bringing up Nelson Aguilar. I know Mr. Drops himself. Nelson Aguilar was a 1st-round pick. Okay. He struggled at first in Philly. He definitely struggled at first. And then in 2016, late in the season, he was struggling a lot. And you know what they did? They sat him down. They made him sit a week or two. I forget what it was. And guess what? He came back in 2017. And we may not win that Super Bowl without Nelson Aguilar. In his third season, 62 catches, 768 yards, 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns. Okay. 8 touchdowns on a Super Bowl team. That's a big deal. He made big plays in the playoff run and in the Super Bowl. So I will say maybe you do sit him down for a week. Now, Nick Sirianni yesterday said that's not the best thing to do for the team. That tells me he has no confidence in any other guys to step up in his place, but you sit him down this week against the Jets. We have the bye next week. So he gets like a 2-week little reprieve, and then he comes back. Maybe it helps him turn the corner. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not agreeing with it as the right thing to do, but we have precedent with the Nelson Aguilar situation that it did work.
Yeah. I wouldn't be totally upset with benching Reagor. I don't think it'd make much of a difference, especially against this Jets team. Honestly, this should be a game where we just run all over them and we just get a nice, easy win so we still have a chance to the playoffs. That's really how it should be. And then maybe just let Reagor relax for 2 weeks, get back in there mentally, and he can come back stronger. That's really what we can hope for. I mean, and if you really don't want to take him out for a game, I mean, the bye week's right here, so
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would kind of work out
This
as well
comment here
anyway.
from Jason's really key. You got to keep Reagor off social media because he has struggles with confidence issues already. And that's a big deal. I mean, you saw Lane Johnson say it, when he came back and had his talk about his mental, issues that he was having, after a game, going on social media and reading all the negative comments, it affects these guys. And in the comments of my thread, people are like, what, if you can't handle it, get out and F this and F that. These are adults, blah. No. You can't take that kind of stuff lightly. You can't act like this towards people because they do feel it. They're human beings. Yes, they make millions of dollars. They're playing a game that we'd all love to play and this and that. But still, it still affects them. You want them to do better? Well, just there's a difference between criticizing.
That was my exact point.
Point on this thing is bullying and being an a-hole and being an awful human being. And that's the difference here. I criticize Jalen Reagor more than most. I criticize Howie Roseman more than most. But you just got to do it the right way. And that's the fourth point on my thing here. Stop with the bullying him. It's not productive. Well, let me tell you something. That set off a linchpin of responses. Yeah. So do you agree that there's plenty of people that are going a little over the top, not just in my thread, on social media in general, on Jalen Reagor?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I would have expected too. And if you didn't have that late game drop, you wouldn't be hearing any of this. You wouldn't it would just be like normal. But yeah, it definitely has been over the top. It happens to all Philly athletes, and that's not an excuse. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it happens all the time. I mean, in every sport. I mean, when Roman Quinn made a bad play, and I know we were going to talking about Roman Quinn at one point. But he's came out and talked about it before that he was while he was injured, he would just see his name all over Twitter and just getting totally just bullied. He would just get bullied. It would just happen all over Jason.
Yeah, just some of the comments that have been.
Yeah, but I mean that's what they do to Philly athletes, and I mean.
Right, before we get back into the rest of it, so let's talk about this. Hurts got to stop looking at the first read. So this is what some of the problems were on Sunday. So Jalen Reagor's bad game is just as much of a fault to Jalen Hurts as it is Reagor. It's just as much as a fault that Greg Ward dropped a touchdown at the end of the first half. Mm-hmm. It's just as much as fault that Nate Herbig got called for a holding penalty on a Boston Scott touchdown that got called back. So we're putting all the blame on Jalen Reagor because he dropped those two passes, which they hit his hands. He's got to catch them. Did anybody blame Quez Watkins when he dropped a wide open touchdown a couple weeks ago? Everyone's like, it's okay. I even said, it's okay. He'll get the next one.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. That's a great example.
All our frustrations of this season, of our losses, on one player that we all know struggles.
Yeah. This is something that we would expect out of Reagor.
Yeah. So this is where my problem is coming. We lost the game. There's a lot of reasons why we lost this game. Jalen Reagor is one of 10 different things I could pull out on reasons why we lost this game. Yep. So can you blame Jalen Hurts for Reagor's struggles? Can you blame Nick Sirianni for some of his struggles?
No, yeah, you can blame them all. And yes, Reagor has had his own trouble too. There's things that he can do to make himself a way better player as well, just like everyone else in the damn league. But there was a lot other things happening. Honestly, that last play shouldn't have even happened. I mean, with all the other plays before it, there should have been 3 interceptions on 3 plays straight before that.
True.
So that play shouldn't have even happened.
Jalen Hurts' 3 interceptions could have been 6 easily.
It should. That was my first statement after the game. I said Hurts should have had 6 interceptions this game. Which we will get into Hurts more later. I'm ready to get into that because I'm ready to ramble. But no, the whole Jalen Reagor thing. There's so much more that happened. I mean, yes, Jalen Reagor gets part of the blame, but I'm not gonna say we lost that game because I wouldn't have felt much better if we beat the Giants by 1 point because Jalen Reagor caught a ball on 4th down. I'd still feel terrible. I'd be like, wow, we just beat the Giants by 1 point. Should have had 6 interceptions. I would have felt terrible about that win. Right. So
let's get into some of this, some of these comments that I've got. We're just going to read some of the quote tweets here that I got. Some of them are good. Bullseye, they got it right. So with all due respect, F Jalen Reagor. I'd cut him. However, I know that's irrational. Stop the bullying. Good. I appreciate that. Nose, bullying, F him and his feelings. Everyone on the practice squad is better, F him. The bullying helped Aguilar, so we're encouraging people to bully because it helped Aguilar. No, that's not true. Man, trade that bleep,
Aguilar
Seriously,
left.
stop it. He's a lost cause. This is insane. Just because people are saying cut him is not bullying, but there's a difference. Greg Ward, did he get hit by a bus? Well, the bus missed Greg Ward because Greg Ward is so slow. He didn't actually get in front of the bus to be hit. Just saying, shut the F up. I shut the F up again. Shut the F up again. Agreed, but it's warranted to be upset with Howie. There's a big key right there. People taking criticism too personal. Exactly. They should cut him. Yeah, let's just cut a first-round pick, not even through his second year. Sure, why not? And here's one. First statement's false. We don't have anybody else. 2, don't care. He hasn't shown progression. Cut him. 3, hopefully he gets benched. 4, bullying works. Again, no.
Nice. Gotta love it.
Am I effing clown because I'm defending this guy? I bet you $1,000 I could have caught at least one of those balls. I'd like to see that. Go out on the NFL field.
I'd like to see you get open
against the Giants defenders, and let's see if you catch that ball. We'll see about that. It's not Reagor's or Ward's fault. The coaching staff sucks. All right, so there's just some of the quote tweets right there that I had. And yes, Jason brought up some of the other things. I've been called a snowflake. I've been called blind. I was called a fake Skip Bayless with less fans. I was also called a radio guy with no fans that never played a down of football.
It's great. We just shouldn't have opinions.
Don't bully him. It had nothing to do with me saying don't cut him. It had nothing to do with me saying any of that. Just stop with the bullying.
Hey, you know what? We just won't have opinions.
Yeah.
Just like how
I engaged there's a couple hundred comments in this thread. Every single one of them that didn't have a cuss word or a straight bashing. I literally responded to every single one of them. Mm-hmm. Let's just have a conversation about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Reagor hasn't produced, at all this year, but benching him would send a message saying you have to figure out. Exactly. I agree. I called for Ben Simmons years ago to be benched by Brett Brown when he was having one of those 9 turnover first halves. You sit a guy down, you make a statement for your team that, Nick Sirianni has said countless times in the offseason and this season, we hold these players accountable. Well, Jalen Reagor needs to be held accountable. So if you want to bench him, I am perfectly okay with that. Not run him out there and letting him, be the focal point of an offense because he led the team in targets on Sunday, which is that's the coaching's fault right there. Mm-hmm. So yeah. All right, that's it. That's it on my rant on this thread. It's been fun. It's still just since we started this show, and I've got another 20 some notifications all on this thread because it just won't stop. It's almost 24 hours old, this thread, and they're still rolling in. So I don't even want to read the rest of the comments right now because it's
just more bullying.
But you said you wanted to rant on Sunday's loss because we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Outside of Jalen Reagor's awful game, what else do you have to say about Sunday's game?
Oh, Jalen Hurts, man. I'm sure you saw me on your post-game show. I was the first to comment all about Jalen Hurts and everything. I was very upset with Jalen Hurts, and I think he showed his true colors. I really do. Before the season started, I wouldn't say I was all out on Jalen Hurts, but I was very skeptical of him. I was still support him. He's still our quarterback, and I still will and everything. But I thought he would not be a very good option, and we're gonna have to get rid of him soon. And then it started to creep up on me a little bit, before last game and 4 weeks before that, when our run game was amazing and Hurts didn't have to do much. I noticed some good Jalen Hurts plays, and I'm like, hey, maybe he can be the guy. And then when I see the ball have to be put in his hands, this guy stinks, plain and simple. I mean, I love it, and I'm
gonna counter that though. We just went over all his options. Jalen Reagor, Greg Ward, Quez Watkins, Jonathan Hightower.
There is things that Jalen Hurts can do to prove that he's still a good player. The amount of times that I saw the ball hit the Giants player's chest, how many times I've seen it that game, it is ridiculous because it just kept on happening. And I get guys don't get open that well. Well, there was a lot of plays where guys were open and he was not making the right read. Devontae Smith was open a lot of times that game. Yeah. There is clip. He is open a lot, and he needs to stop getting off that first read. start dumping the ball. There was a lot of plays where he went for a deep ball, only down by a touchdown with plenty of time left. Only down by a touchdown. He throws a deep ball, and Boston Scott is 5 yards up. No one's around him for 20 yards. It happened multiple times. That's the plays you need to make, and instead he throws an interception. Just these plays, when it's put in his hands, this situation is starting to remind me of the Browns situation. They look really good when their run game is working, but when you have to put the ball in Baker Mayfield's hands, I have zero faith. Well, that's what's happening with the Eagles for me. If we can't get the run game going and we have to depend on Jalen Hurts passing the ball, I don't believe it at all. Jalen Hurts can't throw. He just can't throw a ball. He really hasn't been throwing the ball well all season. Underthrew so many times. Jalen Hurts, I'm now out on, and maybe this is an overreaction Monday statement. Maybe I'll revisit this later on in the week and next week. But Jalen Hurts, I'm done. I don't think there's a better option for next season.
But I'm going to try to be a little positive because I still feel that unless you're going out and getting Russell Wilson, which is a pipe dream, I still want Russell Wilson. And I saw somebody tweet out last night or this morning, how great would Russell Wilson love someone like Jordan Mailata as his left tackle. But it's a pipe dream. And there's nobody in the draft really to take over that has a higher ceiling. And are you really going to go from Jalen Hurts and maybe developing him to Jimmy Garoppolo for a year or two? Yeah. I mean, what's the point of doing that? So Jalen Hurts is here for this year, most likely next year. Yeah. So we kind of got to try to find ways. I think it comes down to coaching, because we all agree, like he goes to his first read, whether it's the deep ball, whether it's Quez Watkins, whatever the play call is and the first read is, that's what he does, and then he scrambles. Yeah. Well, then that means Nick Sirianni calling the plays. The first read has to be Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert, because you had Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith with a combined like 7 targets. Jalen Reagor had. So that's the problem. So yes, Jalen Reagor has Jalen Hurts has his deficiencies. He definitely does, and he has to learn and grow. We have seen some progress this year. Then you have a game like yesterday where it kind of regressed a little bit. But if you're coaching and your play caller can set your player up for success, taking the pressure off of Jalen Reagor by not making him the main target. Yeah. Calling more run plays. they got away from the run. Again, like Drew said, Giants are a bad run team. Why do we pass so much? Yeah. Look, Scotty's saying he's a placeholder for at least the next 1 or 2 years. This is exactly true. And maybe in that 1 or 2 years, look, Josh Allen was a bum his rookie year. Josh Allen wasn't that great his second year. Now look at Josh Allen. Coming into this year, he was an MVP candidate. He's not having his greatest season this year, but there's reasons around that as well. So you don't know what's going to happen in 3 years. So we've got to find ways for Nick Sirianni to make him better, or to put him in a position where he's not going to fail and have all that pressure on him.
Right. And I understand that, but that just can't happen all the time. Coaches are going to have their bad days as well. And it's the quarterback's job to figure it out in the end. In the end, Sirianni was calling plays and the guys were getting open. Mm-hmm. And Hurts was not making the right plays. He was making terrible throws. When it comes down to it,
definitely off on a lot of throws.
A lot all game. What his completion percentage was, I believe, was under 50.
Yeah, it was under
50% last week. Why is all the attention faced on Reagor when their quarterback threw under 50%, had a terrible game, should have thrown 6 picks, didn't have 1 touchdown, and like
he did have a touchdown to Greg Ward that was dropped.
Well, yes.
Which then all of a sudden the whole game changes. I got to throw another dig at Greg Ward when I can, but seriously.
No, yeah, I do understand that, but just all the other plays you see. If Greg Ward caught that 1 touchdown, would you feel better about his stat line then? If he had 1 extra touchdown, and
we might have won. If we win that game, if the touchdown to Boston Scott doesn't get called back, Greg Ward catches that, totally different ball game, totally different results. If Jalen Reagor catches that touchdown at the end of the game, totally different conversation we're having right now.
Well, but should it be? That was my next question. If Jalen Reagor caught that last pass and the game ended right there, do you feel good about Jalen Hurts' performance?
Yeah, we're probably having the conversation that Jalen Hurts dug deep, even though he had a bad bummed up ankle. He dug deep. He made a play. Jalen Reagor stepped up. We're having that form of a conversation.
See, there's no way I would have, though. I was okay. But that's the thing. I think that people will be so oh my gosh, Jalen Hurts made the big play. Like he threw it deep and we scored. And I think they'd be numb to everything else that happened that game. And that's things you have to focus on. I don't think a game-winning touchdown. I mean, we should have seen the 3 plays before that. The fact we're blaming Reagor for that miss. Look at the other 3 passes that Jalen Hurts had. That play shouldn't have even happened, that last play. It was a terrible drive. We should have lost that 2 minutes before that game ended. I think it's terrible, and I think a lot of it is on Jalen Hurts. Again, I'm not going to put all the blame on him. A lot of other things happened that was out of his control.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to the coaching too, and the play calling. Because did you watch the whole game? I don't remember. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So in the first half, there was a situation. We were around midfield. It was 3rd and short, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and there was a pass play called. It was a quick slant to the left.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts was off on it. He tried to fire that quick slant. I forget who he was targeting on that play. It was a bad pass.
Yeah,
they went for it on 4th down. They ran the exact same
play.
One of them was to Reagor, one of them was to Gainwell. I forget who was 3rd, who was 4th down. Quick, hard slant. That's not Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does not have the ability at this point in his career to make that quick 1, 2, 3 fast West Coast offense slant throw like that. And you also don't have the receivers
to do that.
To do that either with.
Right.
You need a big-bodied guy that can go over the middle, catch that ball, and whatever. But even if you had that big-bodied receiver, Jalen Hurts' throws on both those plays were so off target.
Yeah.
So but that comes down to the coaching. You don't run on third when you're near midfield and it's 4 down territory. You don't run on 3rd and 4 a quick slant with a quarterback that can't throw it to a wide receiver that can't catch it. You run a run, you run a screen, you run a rollout, you run something like that. So that comes down to Nick Sirianni, not Jalen Hurts, because we know Jalen Hurts can't make that throw. Nick Sirianni knows Jalen Hurts can't make that throw. So why are you making that call?
So now this is also my next concern. When after that 3rd down play, everyone was coming off the field and Jalen Hurts said no. Jalen Hurts called to go for it on 4th down. And as you could see, because they start coming off and you see special teams coming on, and Hurts is like, no, everyone come back. He called them all back. I think Hurts might have called that play. I think he said, I messed it up this time. We're going to do it right this time. I feel like this might be something that Hurts, because the quarterback has some control. And Sirianni's his first time being a head coach. I think Hurts might have been wanting to call that. I don't know. Either way, I don't like it regardless. Yeah. I don't like how it went down. I don't think that we should have went for it. It was a weird situation. It was a very weird situation.
Bad play after play after play.
Yes.
And it's not just Jalen Reagor's fault that we lost. It's Hurts' fault just as much, if not more. Nick Sirianni, if not more. Just the general fact. There's so many factors that went into us just getting beat by a bad. Let's be honest. The Giants are not a good football team.
No, they're not.
They're just not. And we haven't even talked about the fact that our defense played pretty damn well, considering we've bashed and begged for change on that defense so much. They still didn't get any sacks, but you know what? They played pretty darn well.
And there was a few blitzes in there too.
One big run, they held them to under 10 yards outside that one big play.
Yeah.
So the defense played great. We should have easily won that game.
Yeah, and by the way, we did throw some blitzes in there. It was like a 3rd play of the game. We even threw a blitz. Yeah. So Gannon is starting to, my word, adjust. He's starting to adjust a little bit, and I'm liking
it. The Jets put up 45 against us, right?
Well, I'm going to overreact a little bit now. All right, Gannon's adjusting. That's my overreaction Monday statement. Gannon is actually adjusting. Yeah. So this should have been a game we won. Yeah, I'm gonna blame this so much on. I have to put the blame on Hurts the most out of anyone. That's my question to you as well. Out of anyone you could choose, who is the most to blame for this loss?
In my opinion, any loss like this has to come down to the head coach first. Okay. Because there's a lot of people talking about letdown coming into this game, and that's up to the coach to make sure a letdown doesn't happen. To put your players succeed. We had an awful first half. The play calling, Jalen Hurts' performance. Whatever you want to say, awful first half. What's the coach got to do then at the half? He's got to get that team switched. He's got to make the adjustments. He's got to do what he's got to do, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You had Jason Kelsey who had to go back in there on one leg because there's no other options. And you can't let a game like that against the Giants slip away. So I put it on the coach, 1. I put it on Jalen Hurts, 2. That's what it is to me.
I
And then everybody else,
I would flip flop them too.
everybody else played their small. Reagor played a small little role in the loss.
Yeah.
Everybody played a small little a role in the loss. But it's Hurts and Sirianni 110% to me, and even a little bit of Howie Roseman to blame because Howie Roseman's the one that built the team. You know, Howie Roseman's the person that while he drafts good, linemen and linebackers to an extent, he's strong in the draft in certain parts. He's awful at finding wide receivers. He just is.
Well, yeah, but that's also the thing. This is at least
even your family agrees with me that it's the coaching. Even your family. So you're wrong. I'm going to bully you right now.
No, well, you see, Howie Roseman also has created a good enough team to win 5 games earlier this year. This team's at least put in place. This team is at least well enough put together to beat this Giants team.
Absolutely.
I mean, like just plain and simple. That's kind of just how I view it. This team has a better roster than the New York Giants, and we lost in a terrible way. We got outplayed by the Giants.
And it wasn't like we were down 20. I mean, why did we go away from the run game as much as we did?
I don't know.
You don't need to put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. And you look at it. I said it multiple times this year on this show and on other shows. Eventually, the 18 rushes a game for Jalen Hurts is going to catch up to him.
Yeah.
He took a bad hit, and you saw at the end of the game, him barely able to get to the huddle.
Exactly.
I mean, I give him credit for hanging in there and, powering through the injury.
But it shouldn't have to be. It shouldn't have to come down to that.
It's not annoying. Have. If you stuck to the run, which was obviously working, and yes, Nate Herbig had those 2 holding calls, bookending that last drive of the first half. But he still played half decent outside of those 2 holding plays. We were still moving the ball. And even though he got that Boston Scott touchdown called back, then they were able to get to the goal line again. Mm-hmm. And again, play calling, you have 1st and goal on the 2-yard line, 2nd and goal on the 2-yard line, and you're running shotgun spread formations when you have clearly just dominated them in the run. You could have put anybody on that team in that backfield, put Hurts under center, hand it off, 4 tries, they would have gotten into the end zone. But you got to get creative. You got to do this and that, the dipsy doos and the here, this and that. Look, just run the damn ball.
Kind of how I viewed it. I think, just like I said last week, that I think against these bad teams, they need to try some new things out. And I think that's what they were doing. They know their run game can work for the future. And they 100% know that. They needed to try some other things out to know when they face really good teams, is this going to work? Is this going to work? Okay, we realized a lot of things didn't work, so give up on it. And just run the ball just so we can get a win towards the end.
Oh, we get the answer right here.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do.
Man, somebody throwing Jeremy under the bus right now.
Yeah.
Did Daniel Jones even play well?
No.
Honestly, I've been so focused on the Eagles, I don't even know if the Giants played well. They put up 13 points. It's not like they played well. It's not like he threw 200 plus yards, but I mean a lot of that was underneath stuff. I don't think anything was overly amazing that the Giants did. The Giants are now 4-7. They're not a good team. They're not. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'm sure they think they could still squeak in. I'm sure the Washington football team, after beating Seattle last night, thinks they could still squeak in, but they can't. They're too far back and they're not good enough. This Eagles team before this week was showing enough progression that maybe they could squeak in. Yeah. Where the Giants and Washington, they're just not. They're just not.
You see, Daniel Jones, he went 19 for 30, 60, which is a 63 completion percentage, 202 yards, 1 touchdown. He didn't do much.
He played mediocre at best.
He wasn't a huge factor in the win or anything.
Yeah. He had a couple long screen passes too that picked up big chunk yards.
The Eagles just didn't play well, and they took advantage. Plain and simple.
You could sometimes say, well, this team beats this team. No, this is one of the moments where you could say, this team beat themselves. The Eagles beat themselves. They weren't beat.
Against the Giants. That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts.
It's struggling. Part here. 202 passing yards, better than Hurts' last 5 games.
Yeah.
It would have been his 5th highest passing total if he had 202 yards. Is that a concern for you that we can't win if Jalen Hurts has to pass 200? Jalen Hurts can't pass for over 200 yards.
And again, that was my point
That's a
earlier.
major concern. When are we going to see him even throw 200 yards again?
Now, what happens when we do face an amazing run defense and we actually cannot run the ball? We're not deciding to. We can't run the ball. And it comes down to the 4th quarter and Hurts has to pass the ball every play. Do you have faith he can do it?
But see, here's
not
the thing.
a shot
We have
in
faced
hell.
Twice this year, we have faced the best rushing defense.
Yeah.
And we've run the ball effectively. So that just tells me we don't need to pass the ball.
Right, but the thing is that it's going to come down to times where we will have to. Like Jordan Howard's hurt and Miles Sanders got hurt yesterday. So we're down to Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell. We didn't have really much of a choice to keep on running the ball. We ran the ball still late in the game, and Boston Scott fumbled. I mean, these things are going to happen, and then you have to pass the ball. You have to have a quarterback that can play at least decent in them late game situations. Absolutely. Baker Mayfield is now the prime example that he just can't get it done. Jalen Hurts cannot get it done. These guys just can't do it.
Baker Mayfield's had a few more years of experience than Jalen Hurts, so let's not lump them together.
You're also the type to say stop saying that Jalen Hurts is a rookie still, though.
And absolutely, I'm just trying to put more of the blame on the coach and the GM,
right,
and the quarterback at this point.
And again, it's still everyone.
That's still a great point. And I brought that up yesterday on my overreaction statement. I don't know which one it was, but I had an overreaction yesterday. We cannot call Jalen Hurts a rookie anymore. He has now officially completed 16 games. We need to see progress, not regression from him. And game 16, it was regression, big time.
Big time. And I don't think there has been much progress. I mean, in year one, that Saints game, didn't he throw for over 300 yards and everything like that? He was having these games where he could do that. And I know it's different coaching and different players and everything. Jalen Hurts is just he can't do it on his own. And that's worrisome to me. And I'm not saying he has to do it on his own, but there's things that you see in these good quarterbacks. I'm not trying to compare him to something like Aaron Rodgers could do it all alone and do it all.
Let's compare Jalen Hurts to Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And no, and that's what I was trying to say.
Should have pulled out. Why don't you say compare him to Carson Wentz?
I wasn't gonna say that, but damn, look at that.
Oh damn.
Yeah. We need help. Thank you, Jason. We do need help.
Oh, man.
And the most help needs to be at the quarterback position.
All right. So what should I say on Twitter today that will trigger everybody?
That Jalen, I don't know. Say something good about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
No. They'll get happy about that.
Okay.
They'll get happy about that.
I got to say something that could create negativity. Well, we've already gone over 40 minutes on just the Eagles, mostly about, Jalen Reagor and Jalen Hurts. Let's transition a little bit to the Sixers real quick. Okay. And then we'll wrap this show up because I want to touch on 3 other topics in the next 15 minutes. So let's try to rapid fire. I think maybe the Sixers are something I could say something negative about. So obviously, they beat the Magic last night, 101-96. They lost a close one Saturday night. When Jalen Hurts, Joel Embiid finally got back from health and safety protocols. You can tell, he's just not himself. Tobias Harris still not himself. They lose a close one in, double overtime. They lose they win last night closely. They almost blew it against the awful Magic. Are you at all concerned with the last 2 games? Or are you just chalking up to a team that they've only had their full starting 10, starting 5 and 5 bench guys 3 times this year. And last night was the 3rd time. So are you at all remotely concerned?
I'm definitely still more concerned just because you could tell these guys aren't ready or they're just not fully back. I mean, Tobias has been back for how long and he's still not himself. So that's really what worries me. I do like that we're coming out here and still getting these little wins over these bad teams, but the fact they're still very small wins are a little bit worrisome. So yeah, I'm definitely worried about it. I'm definitely happy to see Niang isn't getting 40 minutes anymore. Mm-hmm. He was down to 15 last night, which is amazing. Tobias did wind up playing 35 minutes, but these guys are finally able to just start taking more of a break. I mean, even Maxey hit 32 minutes. Danny Green played 24. He wasn't up in his 35 to 40 minutes. Yep. So that once they're going to, again, adjust more. They're going to be able to get back to their times, and I think we'll play better in the future more. But right now, I am a little bit worried because these guys, you could tell they're not themselves. And Tobias has been back for a while, and he still isn't. So, and we know Joel. I mean, how long is it going to take for Joel to get back to his MVP self?
I cannot believe he played 45 minutes in the game on Saturday night. 45 minutes, double, and he played 42 points, put up huge amount of rebounds. You could tell 5 minutes into the game, he was gasping for air. Yeah. Oh my God, this guy's going to make it 20 minutes and he's going to be done. But he was able to hang in there, and we almost pulled that out. And that's a really tough situation for Joel and the entire team. Yes, you could see in Saturday night and even last night a little bit that Maxey, while everybody's been out, Maxey has grown leaps and bounds.
Yes.
No doubt about it, in my opinion. But he's done that without Joel on the court. So Joel and Maxey, if Maxey's going to be that starting point guard going forward for the rest of the season, they need time to develop, a chemistry and some, confidence. And you kind of almost see that Maxey was deferring to Joel instead of being that uber aggressive guy we've started to see the last 3 weeks or so. Yeah. So Joel needs to get in shape, but Maxey has to understand that he's still the playmaker, the point guard. Mm-hmm. And yes, you defer to your best player in Joel, but there's also times where he needs to stay aggressive with what he does. There was a key turnover late in the game on Saturday night where he tried to swing a pass out to Joel, and it was a turnover. It was a bad pass, and it was a key play. But that moment was a moment where Maxey could have driven to the basket himself, but he tried forcing it to the star. That proper rapport yet with Joel Embiid. So that'll take time. But like you said about Tobias, he's been back for some time now. Matisse has been back for some time now. These guys, we've seen it in a lot of sports. We can go to baseball. Scott Kingery last year, he never was the same after getting it, and going through protocols. There's been so many situations where these guys, they're just not the same for weeks, months on end. So, I mean, you even heard Joel Embiid say, man, I thought that was, like, he said it kind of semi-sarcastically, but he was really, really feeling it. He's like, dude, I didn't know what was going to happen. So, it's a concern for me. I'm not sure how I could phrase the Sixers into a triggering comment, but we'll see.
Oh, no. There's always a way, Phil. There's
always a way. But then there's another topic that you can ramble on for 40 minutes on about right now.
I know
I'll give you 5 minutes. I'm sure I could say something that will trigger everybody that's a Phillies fan. The Phillies finally made a move yesterday, and I actually think it's a great move. It's a step forward by taking a step back. They cut Roman Quinn finally. Yeah.
Yep.
Woohoo! And then I saw my man Dave Esther, post a post about it, and everyone's like, there was actually somebody saying that they're a Roman Quinn fan and posted a picture with him and his buddy wearing Roman Quinn jerseys. They were probably the only two people to ever buy a Roman Quinn jersey.
Yeah, I know damn well he had to customize that.
At this moment, it seems on paper that the Phillies are blowing the offseason. Even though there's still plenty of moves to be made, and I don't know what the reason is, whether Middleton's waiting until the lockout's over to see what happens, or he's just letting I honestly think some of these moves that have been made, away from the Phillies, some of them are a little over the top. Yeah. Some of them are a little too pricey, for the player and stuff like that, and the years and the money and the average money. So I'm not overly upset about too many of the moves.
Yeah.
But I know you've got things to say about the Phillies.
So the most frustrating part, it's not even that we've missed out about the guys that we've missed out on. It's more about not making the moves already, like the fact that we're not already signing Corey Knebel, the reliever, or the fact that this Chris Bryant thing is going on for so long. That's what's worrying me. I haven't heard much about Trevor's story. That is what's worrying me. The other guys that signed, Corey Seager signed a 10-year deal worth $325 million. Hell no, don't want that. That's fine.
That deal. Let's touch on what does that mean for the other guys out there. The other shortstops and infielders that are out there.
Yeah.
If he got 10 years, 320, what are these other guys? What's Carlos Correa going to get?
Exactly. And that's what's worrisome because because Correa is a better player and Trevor Story is a better player. And Trevor Story is a guy that I really want. But the thing is, I wouldn't even pay 10-year, $325 million for Trevor Story. So if that doesn't get made, I'm not going to be mad at Middleton. I'm not going to be mad at Dombrowski because I wouldn't make them moves either. That's how I'm going. If I don't see myself making the moves, then I wouldn't expect anyone else to. So I'm okay to let Seager go and everything. If we can get Chris Bryant on a nice deal, I'm probably willing to even overpay a little bit for Chris Bryant. Because I would really love that addition. But the fact that moves haven't been made already. The cutting of Roman Quinn, and we got a couple relievers now that were his name's Yohan Lopez. He's a guy that's not going to do. He probably going to be in the minors all next year. So we're making these minor moves that haven't been changing our team at all in the slightest. And we still don't have outfielders. We actually lost one. So
Knebel, the reliever.
Yes.
Bryant and Schwarber are the three moves they make.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Is that a successful offseason?
To me, that is successful. We get a really good reliever. And of course, there's going to be other little signings, but the three main guys, if we had Knebel, Schwarber and Bryant. Oh yeah, I mean even if we get just Bryant, I think that's a success. But yeah, Schwarber, Knable, and Bryant, that's huge. Even if you want to take out Schwarber and grab Castellanos over there, I think that'd be awesome too. But I definitely think we need another left-handed bat because all we have really is Bryce Harper is our only left-handed bat in the lineup. So I think Schwarber would be great over there in left. Not a great defender, but I don't really care about left fielders. Defense. We had Andrew McCutcheon over there for 3 years, and we see how that worked out. Yeah. But I think having someone like Schwarber out there, Chris Bryant can play the outfield, and he's really good. He can even play center at times. So I think that just all three of those guys would be
Chris
huge.
Bryant should pretty much play I think I've seen him play first, third, left, right, and center so far.
Yep.
I don't know if he's ever played second or short, but I'm sure you could do that too if you needed to.
Again, he probably could. Chris Bryant really can just do it. He's won MVP before, Rookie of the Year, 3 times been in the top 10 in MVP. Again, they were all his first 3 years, but he has taken he's decreased a little bit, but he definitely picked it up last year when he got traded to the Giants. You could tell it's a change of scenery changed him. And I think him coming to one of his best buddies, Bryce Harper, that's always going to help us. He'd really help out this team. Hopefully, I still want him to play third base so we could force Alec Bohm and Rhys Hoskins to one of them are playing, or if the DH comes, one of them play DH and whatever. But Chris Bryant is definitely the main guy I want this offseason.
So why haven't the Phillies signed somebody? Is it that they're making all? Do you think they're inquiring about these guys and just saying no, too much money for you, or are they inquiring about these guys and these guys say no, we don't want to come to the Phillies?
No, I definitely think it's more that we don't want to pay enough money for them. I mean,
hold on, let me rephrase that. Is it because we don't want to pay enough money because you, Jeremy, you're not worth 10 years, $325 million, or is it because we don't want to pay $325 million even though you're worth it because that's going to put us over the luxury tax? Is it more the Middleton's really cheap, really deep down inside, or is it that they're evaluating players and saying you're not worth it?
It's a little bit of both. Middleton he does not ever want to go over the luxury tax. But I do think he would do it over the right circumstances. And that's what he said before. Under the right circumstances, he would. And I think it's times where Dombrowski and our new assistant GM, I'm not even going to try to say his name, but he's from the Rays. Yeah.
What is the guy from the Rays?
Yeah, I think they looked at it and were like, "Hey, Middleton, don't even worry about it. I don't think I would have wanted to sign Corey Seager to that much money anyway." Or Marcus Semien, I think that was a fair deal. He got a 7-year, $175 million. I think that's something that the Phillies probably should have snuck in and tried to grab. I mean, it's a second baseman hitting 40+ home runs. It's absolutely insane. So I think that's one that's kind of the example of maybe guys don't want to play here as much, but I couldn't really see the reason why. I mean, the Phillies are a team trending upward. We just had the MVP and a guy that was second in Cy Young. I wouldn't really understand
great
why.
Hitters Park.
Exactly. So I really don't think it's that. It's just that, the Phillies don't want to spend their money regardless of which reason it is. It's definitely a little bit of both. But hopefully some news dropped today. I really thought yesterday was the day the Phillies were going to do something, but
does any of it have to do with the lockout? Because it seems like teams are purposely almost spending big time now with the lockout pending. Because I mean, tomorrow might be a lockout. Baseball might be locked out tomorrow or the day after. Who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks? And are they just spending their money now, so that after the lockout ends or whatever happens, when the rules change, they got their guys locked up,
Right. And it definitely could be. And another reason the Phillies could do it, I don't think it'd be this, but like, hey, lockout's about to come. Maybe we don't want to spend our money yet. We don't want to risk it. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just very frustrating, the fact that nothing has been done. I mean, even just like getting the Corey Knable signing, I think that would be like, okay, we got that. We'll see what else we can get in the future, and at least we can hold on to that for a little bit. Right now, we have nothing, and if we walk out of this offseason with not at least one of Corey Knable, Chris Bryant, Nick Castellanos, and Kyle Schwarber, if we don't get one of those guys, it's terrible. I would be extremely upset. Extremely.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? With the lockout looming tomorrow, hopefully we see something happen today. I hope tomorrow we're talking about a signing, not the lockout tomorrow morning on Trending in the AM.
I pray. Because the Mets are making their moves. The Mets are making their moves.
Kyle Schwarber. All right. Max Scherzer, 3 years, $130 million. I know we got to face Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom next year, but Max Scherzer's 37 years old.
But
You know,
that's the thing. He's still pitching a 2.2 ERA. I mean,
okay, so maybe he pitches well next year, but you cannot expect him to pitch well for the next 3 years at that price. Oh my God!
If anyone's gonna do it,
$30 million to a 37-year-old.
if anyone's gonna do it, it'd be Scherzer, and of course he had to go to my least favorite team in any sport.
I'm just hoping the Mets curse continues.
Oh, I pray, because their roster's amazing.
All right, let's wrap this up without El Parcero on the show. Okay, let's give a shout out to our Philadelphia Union. I don't know if you caught that game at all. You know, after the Eagles game, after I did post game Eagles aftermath, I had to have a little bit of Philadelphia Union watching going on in my household. The Union won against Nashville SC in a shootout, which shootouts in hockey or soccer are the greatest thing in the world.
The most exciting things.
They're so exciting. And they won in the shootout 2-0. And they advanced to Sunday, the conference finals. So that's a big doop. You know,
huge.
Did you watch any of it or catch any of the highlights? Or
I did catch some. I watched the shootout. Like I looked at the highlights and watched the shootout, and it was just insane.
I watched the whole overtime, or extra time, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
See, that's why we need El Parcero. I don't even know what to call it.
Exactly.
Is it overtime? Is it extra time? Whatever. But I watched a good 45 minutes straight of soccer on Sunday night, and it was exciting. It really was. And then that shootout. First off, Blake, their goalie.
Yeah,
the Union goalie. Insane. That guy's got so much energy, so good. I've never seen a guy stop so many penalty kicks. And then he stopped the first couple in the shootout. And then it had the Nashville guys shooting over the net, wide right. I mean, it was pretty awful. The crowd at Subaru Park, that it's called now, insane. And I want to shout out, what's his name? Where I forget his name. I had it up here. Where is he on my list of names here? Where are you? Jack McGlynn. 18 years old. Yeah. 18 years old. Guy. Putting the ice in the veins and making the winning penalty kick or shootout kick there. Yeah, I love it. It was so exciting. I can't wait till Sunday. They have it listed as tentative at 3:00 now. Maybe it gets pushed off to 5. I hope it gets pushed off to 5 so I can watch it and not the Eagles game. But yeah, I mean, man, Philadelphia Union, here's my hot take, will be the only team this year to make the playoffs.
Wow.
That means the Sixers don't either.
Yeah,
the Phillies may not. The Eagles are definitely not. Well, most likely not.
The only one I was concerned with that was the Sixers.
That could be a hot take right there. That
definitely could be, but it's still reasonable. So wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know. I'm just saying. We'll see.
All I know is we have a Philadelphia team deep into the playoffs in the conference finals. Dupe, baby.
Yeah, Dupe. Hey, on that note, we're going to wrap up Trending in the AM here on DSM Media, brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products. Check them out at manscaped.com and use promo code TRENDING, the name of the show, TRENDING, at checkout. It lets them know that we sent you, but it also gets you 20% off and free shipping. Holidays, tomorrow's December 1st. That means you got 24 more days to get that product under the Christmas tree for your special someone. Make sure you check them out. Manscaped.com, promo code TRENDING. That's Jeremy Harworth. I'm Phil Stiefel. Make sure you're following us all on DSM Media, Bearded Knowledge, Jay Horworth 11. Do it. Let's go. Let's have a great positive day. Hey, stop the bullying. Stop the bullying on Twitter. That's my key from today, everybody. No more bullying. Let's all have a great day. Go Birds, go Sixers, and Dupe.
Go Birds, Dupe.